Hello, all my patrons. I hope you all managed to see this. I'm not sure how reliable Patreon's notifications are. So, if you would please comment below that you've seen this, I would greatly appreciate it. So, I need to talk to you guys about the status of my Patreon. As you've probably noticed, I haven't been very active on here, and I've been horrible with upholding the patron perks and whatnot. I haven't been able to do the monthly build challenges or the monthly channel discussion group or the one-on-one chats. Seems like the only perk I've managed to do is your names in the credits at the ends of my videos. Of course, you do have access to the patron-only Discord, which seems like it's been kind of a failure too. It was kind of active at the beginning, but I get that 20-odd patrons aren't enough to keep things going on there. And besides, there are so many social media platforms that we're forced to check every day. Who has time for one more, right? I sure don't. So it's been pretty hard for me to keep discussions going on there, especially with the new addition to my family and other things that weren't a part of my life when I started the Patreon, things that I couldn't predict at the time. So I apologize that I haven't been keeping things up here like I hoped I would when I started this. But unfortunately, I don't see it changing in the foreseeable future. I don't see myself being able to be more active in that area. So I think some changes need to be made. I mean, this Patreon thing was kind of an experiment anyway. I'd never done a Patreon before, and I didn't know what would make a good perk or anything. So I figured that there would probably be a need to change things a little bit after the initial launch and a test period. Of course, the test period lasted a lot longer than I thought it would because of what was going on in my life right after that. But I have some ideas for how it could possibly be changed and hopefully improved. But I wanted to tell you guys my ideas and get your opinions, since my changes will affect all of you too, especially if you're in the $5 and up tiers. So I figured if I remove the perks that I haven't been able to uphold, that would leave access to the Discord and your name in the credits of my videos as perks. But that's not enough perks for 5 tier levels, obviously. So I was thinking that maybe I could just, well, basically abolish the tiers and make it so you can pledge any amount you want to, regardless of anything else. So for those of you who pledge more than $1, you can still pledge that amount. If you pledge $5, you can still pledge $5. If you pledge 20, you can still pledge 20. There would be one tier and it would say pledge $1 or more. You just wouldn't get any extra perks. Does that make sense? But this is why I wanted your feedback on this, especially from those of you who are on the higher tiers, since I am assuming that you may have chosen the higher tiers because of the particular perks they offered, although I'm sure some of you, and maybe even all of you, I don't know, chose the tiers you did just because that's how much you wanted to pledge and the perks had nothing to do with it. Either way, I would love to hear your thoughts about this. I'm not going to change anything right away since I did want your feedback first, but I would like to change things soon, like within the next week or two. So please leave me your feedback as soon as possible. Now, I did have some other ideas. If I abolish the perk tiers, then all patrons would be equal. Everyone would get their names in the credits, not just the people who pledged $5 or more. And if I came up with other rewards in the future, they would probably be available to all patrons, regardless of how much they pledged. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. To tell you the truth, I've never really liked the idea of perk tiers to begin with. And I only did them because that's what Patreon encourages you to do when you create your page there. And the reason I don't really care for perk levels is because it almost seems like a bribe to get people to pledge more money, rather than just letting them pledge what they want because they appreciate my content and don't need anything else. You know what I mean? And not all creators use tier levels. Gopher, for instance, doesn't use tiers or rewards for that matter. He has done various patron-only events in the past, and If I got enough patrons, I would probably do patron-only events as well. But as of right now, I only have 23 patrons, and they're all living in different time zones. And so having an event and expecting everyone to show up just wouldn't, well, it's not very realistic, which is the main reason why some of my perks just don't work, at least not with such a small audience, you know what I mean? They were good ideas in theory, and maybe they would work if I had 100 patrons. But for now, I don't, and I doubt I will for a very long time to come. And this is why I think it should change, at least, for the foreseeable future. Maybe someday when I have a lot more patrons, I can bring back tiers and re-implement some of those perks. But for now, I'm feeling like they're more of a burden than a benefit to me. But please tell me what you think about this in the comments. Were you excited by the idea of the perks I offered? Did you choose that particular tier because of the perks, or just because that's how much you wanted to pledge? If there were no tiers, would you still pledge the same amount you did? I would really, really like to know. Now, with the imminent arrival of Fallout 76, I'm going to be having a ton of new content on my channel, and I'm very excited about it. I honestly can't wait. And if you watched my most recent channel update, then you heard a couple of the ideas I had for that content. 2 or 3 of those ideas would involve patron-only content. That was featured settlement tours, where I go visit your settlement in the game and record a tour of it, then feature it on my channel. Settlements, camps, whatever you want to call them. I call them settlements because that's what they are in Fallout 4. Some people are like, they're not settlements, there's no settlers. And I'm like, well, you're a settler. You're the settler building a settlement for you. So, I mean, it's more than a camp if you build houses, right? Anyway, totally off topic there. What was I talking about? Oh my gosh. So, yeah, featured settlement tours. So I go visit your settlement in the game and record a tour of it. And then I would feature it on my channel. It would be a new series that I would do, okay? And maybe I do one a month or something like that, depending on the demand. And the other one was I would offer in-game settlement help. So many people message me asking for help with, they're having a problem in their settlement, like they can't figure out how to build this or to get this to work or something. And I try really hard to help them through chats and stuff, but it's really hard to help them when I can't see what exactly their problem is, So it's cool that I can, in Fallout 76, I'll be able to go into the game and actually see what they're doing and why it's not working, right? So I could do that. Maybe not necessarily put those things on my channel, like I wouldn't necessarily make a video about them, but it would take a lot of my time to do it. So that's why I'm including it in this. And probably it would only be for my patrons and people who buy me a coffee. And that's the other thing. I was thinking of including those who buy me a coffee in these Fallout 76 interactions, since again, I don't have enough patrons to make it an indefinite supply of content, you know what I mean? Since all 23 of you probably wouldn't want to or have need of such participation. And even if all of you did, that's still not much opportunity. So if I included coffee followers, the sky would basically be the limit there. Any one of my subscribers would be able to get in on that action as long as they, bought me a coffee. And that's like, I don't think that's really a whole lot to ask. I mean, coffee is $3, and for an hour of my time or being featured on my channel, that's really not a lot to ask, I don't think. So I'd like to know what you guys think about that, but that's just my thoughts about it. And also, I would probably extend that to include any sort of official interaction with subscribers in Fallout 76. And by official, I mean any interactions that would be published in a video, or any interactions that require an appointment, basically. Anything beyond my own private gameplay that other people just happen to join me in. Like, if I was playing by myself and one of my subscribers got on the same server, saw me, and came over to say hi, I'm not going to just insist they buy me a coffee before we interact or play together, right? But if they wanted to join me in a Let's Play episode, or if they wanted me to do a tour of their settlement, or for my feature settlement series, or if they wanted an in-game help in some way, then I would probably restrict that kind of thing to patrons and Ko-fi supporters only. Does that make sense? This way it will limit the number of people I would be interacting with, since, let's face it, there is no possible way I will be able to play with every one of my subscribers, or even a quarter of them. But I also don't want to restrict this Fallout 76 interactions to only patrons, and especially to not only patrons of a certain tier level. Does that make sense? Anyway, so please tell me what you think. If I did abolish the tiers, I don't think it would affect your pledges anyway. You'd still be charged the same amount at the end of the month, just as you are now. You'd still have access to the Discord server, and you definitely still get your name in the credits of my videos. Only then the $1 patrons would also be in the credits. Basically, I just want whatever perks I give out to include everyone, at least for now. And I'm not opposed to adding different perks if you guys have other ideas. The ones I have are just the only ones I was able to think of at the time. I just can't do anything that would take a lot of my time apart from my channel content, since I barely have time to make videos on a semi-frequent basis at this point. You know, that may change in the future, probably will. You know, as my kids get older, they'll need less and less of my time and stuff like that. You know, life changes, things happen, you have more or less time to do things. So, you know, this will just be probably temporary as well. Anyway, also, concerning the patrons only Discord server, that's basically dead. Who are we kidding, right? I was thinking of opening that up to all my subscribers. So it wouldn't be a patron only Discord anymore. It would be a subscriber Discord. At least then it might have a fighting chance of being a decent hangout place, you know? Also, I had another idea for my Discord, which I got from seeing what some other YouTubers are doing. I've seen some people forming Fallout 76 communities on Discord, where they all share their gamer tags and other info like that, so that they can take over the Fallout 76 servers with like-minded players, thus attempting to avoid having griefers on the servers. Not sure if it will work like that, if it will be able to work like that, but the theory is, let's say that if my subscribers did that, I would invite 3 people to be on my server, or, you know, somebody else would invite 3 people. And those 3 people would invite 3 others, and then those would invite 3 more, and so on. And eventually the server would be full of only my subscribers, and we would all agree to play nice with each other. Not to say we can't do combat with each other or anything, but we'd all agree to play safe, play nice, and have fun, you know what I mean? And we could even, like, take over several servers. I mean, if all my subscribers did that, there's enough of us to fill up, you know, dozens of servers. But in order to do that, I would need a Discord server for all my subscribers as a place for them to post their information and, you know, discuss things and, you know, maybe plan times to meet up, whatever. And after looking into it, it looks like it would be easier to just open up my current Discord to everyone rather than making a whole new one. I figured you guys probably wouldn't mind if I did that, since we're not really using the Discord at this point anyway, and opening it up to everyone might actually save it from death. Okay, well, that's basically everything I wanted to mention. Please let me know what you think about all this, and even if you have no opinion about any of this, you don't care what I do, please at least comment below that you saw this video. I'm hoping that every one of you, every 23 of you, will have seen this, so please let me know if you saw it. I think implementing these changes will lift a pretty big burden off of my shoulders, since I felt really bad over the last year that I haven't held up my end of the deal in regards to Patreon. And of course I can't help but wonder if that was the reason that quite a few people dropped out of Patreon. I know there's all kinds of reasons why someone would be unable to support me any longer, and several of you told me why you were dropping out, but most didn't. And so, you know, I always wonder, but I don't judge anyone for dropping out. I certainly don't want anyone to give me money they can't afford to part with, but I still can't help but feel like they're paying for something I'm not giving them, you know? Well, anyway, I do very, very greatly appreciate you guys. I mean, you guys have made doing this worthwhile. I mean, I feel like, I mean, it doesn't anywhere near pay for the time that I spend on this, but it does a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not, it helps. I don't know how to explain it, but it helps. And knowing that there are people out there who love my content so much that they're willing to pay for it, that encourages me. It encourages me to make more content and to make better content. And so you guys help me keep going, you know? So every little bit helps. And so I'm so grateful to you guys. I really appreciate you guys. And I want to make this Patreon, worth your time and your money. I don't know if you really care. So that's why I want your opinion. So let me know down below. And anyway, I'll stop rambling now because seriously, that is a major fault of mine. I ramble a lot, as you probably know. Anyway, I'll see you guys down in the comments. So long.